If you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Norman, Oklahoma, then you probably want to know what's going on with the real estate market in Norman. And in this video, we're going to dive into the data. We'll take a look at the average sales price, the average price per square foot, the number of days on market, and the month's supply of inventory. And I'll also reveal the surprising reason that both housing and rent prices are on the rise in Norman, Oklahoma. And let's start by taking a look at the average sales price in Norman. What I've got pulled up here is my local MLS, and I'm recording this video at the end of November in 2024, which is typically a slower time of year for real estate, and we see that reflected in the data here. The average sales price right now in Norman, Oklahoma is $307,000. Now, that data is for the month of October. As I mentioned, I'm recording this in November, and the data is reported a month behind. So we'll have updated numbers for what the month of November looked like here shortly. But as of the time of this recording, the average sales price in Norman is $307,000. And if we compare that to the peak of the market, which was actually in September of this year, a little bit later than what we typically see for the peak, that average sales price was at $347,914. And going back to the low of 2024, the average sales price got all the way down to $248,900 in the city of Norman in 2024. By the way, my name is Ben. I'm your guy for all things Oklahoma real estate. If you're thinking about a move to Norman or Edmond or one of the other areas around the Oklahoma City metro, then click or tap the link down below this video to download my free guide on everything you need to know about the Oklahoma City area. Now let's take a look at the average price per square foot in Norman. And this is how home values are calculated by an appraiser or by a realtor when they do a comparative market analysis. They're looking at what is the price per square foot of the comparable properties to the one that you are buying or selling in the area. And at the time of this recording, the average price per square foot in Norman is $166. And we see that the high for the average price per square foot in Norman was all the way back in April when it got up to $171 per square foot. And interestingly, that high in the price per square foot came at a different time than the high in the average sales price in the city of Norman. And looking at the low for 2024 of the average price per square foot in Norman, it was all the way down to $145 back in January. All right, now we're gonna take a look at the average days on market in the city of Norman. And at the time I'm recording this, that number is 48. And you can see this big jump up here as we enter deeper into the fall months. That's because the fall is typically the slower time of year for real estate. And as we move from the spring and summer, which is the busier season, into the fall months, we start to see those average days on market going up. Another factor that contributes to average days on market is the amount of inventory, whether we are in a buyer's market or a seller's market. In a seller's market where the sellers are in control and there is less availability or less inventory available for buyers who want to buy, then that number of days on market goes down. But as the inventory increases, as buyers have more options from which to choose, the number of days on market goes up. And we see that begin to shift us toward a buyer's market, which is exactly what's happening in this market right now. We've been in a seller's market for a few years, really since the pandemic, when interest rates were lowered really low and there was a massive run on houses. Inventory has been incredibly low, and so sellers have been in control of the market. We are starting to see that shift as inventory has increased over the last year or so, and the higher interest rates have kept many buyers on the sidelines. Now let's take a look at the month's supply in the city of Norman. And supply is one of those things that tells us whether we are in a buyer's market or a seller's market. A truly balanced market would have us at a supply of about 6 months. And in that scenario, neither buyers nor sellers would be in control. And as you can see, it's been steadily on the rise. However, we are still below that quote unquote balanced market. We're sitting at 3.6 months supply of inventory in the city of Norman. Now, that is a drastic increase from the low in February of 2024 when it was at 1.7 months supply. And going back to March of 2022, we had half a month's supply of inventory in Norman. That is about as solidly a seller's market as you can get. And let's just quickly take a look at what days on market were in March of 2022 in Norman. And 19 days on market. So things were moving really quick at that time. But as you see, that month's supply has been steadily moving upward, and that means that the seller's grip on the market, the seller's control of the market, has been loosening as we move toward a more balanced market where neither sellers nor buyers are in control. And I want to take a look now at the surprising reason that home and rent prices are increasing in the city of Norman as we move into the year 2025. And I'm going to cite a couple of local journalists here in taking a look at this interesting factor that is having an effect on housing and rent prices in Norman. And that is the fact that Oklahoma University has joined the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, and specifically in football, that has a massive implication for the city of Norman. Well, why is that? The SEC is considered the elite conference of college football, and these teams are known for traveling really well, meaning their fans travel to the games when their team is playing out of state. And so the city of Norman is seeing an increase in demand for both hotel rooms as well as short-term rentals, things like Airbnb. And this has an impact on the overall housing market in the city of Norman because, as you can imagine, investors want to get in on this opportunity to make more money with short-term rentals. And the fact that Norman is already a college town means there are already a ton of rental properties in Norman because college students often rent while they're going to college. And when you add in this layer of the SEC coming to Norman, Oklahoma, it means the demand for rental properties goes even higher. And so as a result, we see property values increasing as well as rent prices in the city of Norman. Here's another article from one of our local TV stations speaking to the fact that OU's move to the SEC is expected to have a big impact financially on the city of Norman. And then we'll take a look at one more article here, the OU Daily. It's actually expressing concerns over housing because rent continues to increase in the city of Norman, and it's making it hard for some people, including students who already live in Norman, to be able to afford the area. And I wanted to take a look at these particular statistics here where they were comparing the city of Norman to other SEC cities that already have football teams in the SEC. And you can see here that in Austin, Texas, the median rent was 69% higher than in Norman. As of September 27th, it was 31% higher in Fayetteville, Arkansas, 26% higher in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and 23% higher in Lexington, Kentucky. And so OU's move to the SEC would contribute to additional increases in rent across the city of Norman. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this video. That way you never miss an update on the Oklahoma real estate market. And if you're thinking about buying a property in Norman, maybe you're looking to invest, or maybe you're considering a move to the city of Norman, then this video right here is going to tell you more about the pros and cons of living in Norman, Oklahoma.